7 hours of sleep, 2 cups of coffee, no illness, and yet by 2 p.m., the brain feels like it's running through mud. Here's what most people never hear. That afternoon tiredness, that fog, that heaviness, that feeling of running on empty, it probably has nothing to do with sleep. It has to do with what's happening in the gut, right now, while you're watching this. Over the next 8 minutes, we're going to break down the exact mechanism that drains your energy, the 3 foods that make it worse, and the simplest change anyone can make this week to feel a measurable difference. No supplements, no gimmicks, just science most doctors never explain. And it starts with a part of the body most people completely ignore. There's a highway running between the stomach and the brain. Scientists call it the vagus nerve, the longest nerve in the human body, connecting the gut directly to the parts of the brain that control mood, focus, and energy. And it goes both ways. The brain talks to the gut, but, and this is the part most people miss, the gut talks back, constantly. 90% of serotonin, the chemical that makes a person feel awake, focused, and motivated, is produced in the gut. Not the brain, the gut. Which means the bacteria living in the intestines are basically running mood and energy levels. They're the factory floor. And here's the problem. Feed them the wrong things, and they don't just slow down. They start producing compounds that actively cause fatigue. A 2019 study in the journal Cell tracked what happens when the gut microbiome shifts towards certain bacterial strains. Those strains produce something called lipopolysaccharides, LPS for short. LPS triggers a low-grade inflammatory response, not enough to cause illness, just enough to cause exhaustion. That brain fog at 2 p.m., that heaviness after lunch, that's not a sleep problem. That's an inflammation problem, and it starts in the gut. So the question becomes, what's feeding those bacteria?
The biggest, most important microbial habitat seems to be in the gut. It's the most complex, the most diverse, and everything microbes are doing everywhere else in our bodies, fighting off infections, revving up and dampening down our immune systems, signaling cells, that's all happening in the gut in spades. They even seem to help regulate our metabolisms, how much energy we burn and how much fat we store. So if it's not functioning properly for some reason, because of what we eat, antibiotics we take, that may actually lead to all kinds of diseases. Diseases like colon cancer, colitis, maybe even diabetes and obesity.
Let's get specific. There are 3 categories of food that consistently shift your gut bacteria toward the strains that produce those inflammatory, energy-draining compounds. Number 1, ultra-processed foods. Not just junk food. This is the stuff that makes up nearly 60% of the average Western diet. Packaged snacks, fast food, most frozen meals, soft drinks. These foods are engineered to be hyper-palatable, but they starve beneficial gut bacteria of the fiber they need to survive. A 2022 study in the BMJ found that people eating the most ultra-processed food had significantly higher markers of systemic inflammation and reported more fatigue than those eating the least. It wasn't about calories, it was about what those calories did to the microbiome. Number 2, refined sugar. Here's the mechanism. Sugar feeds a specific set of gut bacteria that crowd out the diversity the body needs. Think of it like watering only one plant in a garden and watching everything else die. Within just 7 days of a high-sugar diet, researchers at Stanford found measurable shifts in microbiome composition. Energy-supporting bacteria declined, inflammation-promoting strains expanded, and the subjects reported more fatigue, more brain fog, worse mood. 7 days. Number 3, and this one surprises people, processed meat. Hot dogs, bacon, deli meats, sausages. These contain preservatives like nitrates and high levels of saturated fat that studies have consistently linked to gut dysbiosis, an imbalance in the microbiome. A 2020 analysis in gut microbes showed that high processed meat consumption was associated with lower microbial diversity and higher levels of those LPS-producing bacteria from earlier. Now, notice what this video is not saying. None of these foods are evil. Nobody needs to swear them off forever. But if tiredness is a daily reality, these three categories are the most likely culprits, and the science is clear on why. But knowing what drains energy is only half the answer. The other half is what actually gives it back.
The best way to think about ultra-processed foods are things that contain 5 or more ingredients and things that you wouldn't find in your average kitchen. So if you're looking at a product, you turn it over, you look at the ingredients list, it's going to have things on there like emulsifiers, preservatives, additives, dyes and sweeteners. And some of the best examples of that are things like ready meals, crisps, unprocessed, which are things, unprocessed, minimally processed. That's things like, as we just said, the eggs, fruit, vegetables, milk and meat, most meats. And then you've got some processed ingredients. So that's things like oils and butter, because again, they're just not naturally occurring. There is a kind of minimal processing to get them into the forms that they are. And then we have processed foods such as cooked meats and some bread. But confusingly, some bread is actually ultra-processed as well.
Here's the good news. The microbiome is not fixed. It's one of the most responsive systems in the human body. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh found that meaningful shifts in gut bacteria composition can happen in as little as 5 days of dietary change. Not 5 months, 5 days. So, what does the science say actually works? The single most impactful change, according to a 2021 meta-analysis in The Lancet, is increasing dietary fiber, specifically from whole plant foods. Fiber is the preferred fuel of beneficial gut bacteria. When they get enough of it, they produce short-chain fatty acids, compounds that reduce inflammation, strengthen the gut lining, and directly support serotonin production. And the research points to one specific practical number that moves the needle more than anything else. 30 different plant foods per week. That's the number. A landmark study from the American Gut Project, the largest microbiome study ever conducted, found that people who ate 30 or more different plant foods per week had dramatically more diverse gut bacteria than those who ate fewer than 10. And that diversity was the single strongest predictor of energy, mood, and overall health. Now, 30 sounds like a lot, but watch how fast it adds up. A banana, an apple, blueberries in the morning, that's 3. Oats with flaxseed and cinnamon, 6. A lunch salad with mixed greens, tomato, cucumber, chickpeas, red onion, 11. Rice and beans with peppers and corn for dinner, 15. Almonds and an orange as a snack, 17. That's barely trying. No elimination, no restriction, just variety. And the science says that variety, that diversity of fiber sources, is what gut bacteria need to start producing energy instead of draining it. Within the first week, most people report sleeping better. Within 2 weeks, the afternoon fog starts lifting. By week 3, the change is obvious enough that other people notice it. This isn't a diet, it's a reset. And it works because it doesn't fight cravings with willpower. It changes the bacteria that generate the cravings in the first place.
People who eat at least 30 different types of plants a week have better gut health than those who eat the same 10 on repeat. And I think if we think about our own diets, often we do fall into habitual buying the same foods, cooking the same meals. But the science is really highlighting this element of diversity is incredibly important because of these phytochemicals. So, and each different type of plant provides different phytochemicals. Now, the thing about these phytochemicals is that our bacteria absolutely love them. And when we feed our body these phytochemicals, the bacteria thrive. They're better at producing different vitamins, regulating hormones, communicating with our brain, impacting our blood sugar regulation. All of those things our bacteria do are enhanced when we feed them that diversity of those phytochemicals.
There's something worth stepping back and noticing about all of this. Billions of dollars are spent every year on coffee, energy drinks, sleep trackers, and supplements, all trying to fix a problem that starts on the plate. None of it addresses the root. The standard modern diet has slowly, quietly reshaped the ecosystem inside the human body. Not in a dramatic, obvious way, in a way that just makes people a little more tired, a little more foggy, a little less sharp every single day, until that becomes what normal feels like. It doesn't have to be. And the fix isn't deprivation. It's not restriction. It's not an identity change or a label. It's just paying attention to what feeds the system that's running the brain. That's conscious living, not perfection, just awareness. If you try the 30 Plant Challenge this week, drop a comment with what you notice by day 5. We read every single one. And if this is the kind of thing that matters to you, the science behind how food shapes the way we think and feel, we go deeper every week. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. This is Veg Out. Thanks for watching.